So, welcome to the August 2025 meeting of Be the Spark Movement. And today's conversation is about community service. So, if you have things you want to say about community service, we'd love to hear how much community service is happening in our world. And yeah, so let's get this conversation started.
Okay.
Welcome to Jeffrey and Neil and Angela. So glad to have you here. And Jeffrey, I know that you have some quotes that you wanted to start us off with. So,
Yeah, I kind of wanted something to talk about the community, and so I went and looked up quotes. So these aren't mine, but I just thought they were really interesting. So I'll just read a couple of them. Okay, here's one. This one is pretty straightforward. It says community is the foundation to success. I like that one. But this one
mhm.
is the one I really like. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. I really like that one.
I like that one the best so far.
Yeah. And then the third one was alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And so, yeah, those three I just wanted to, there's a lot of them on here, but those three kind of got me. So I wanted to share them with you all.
Yeah, I
That's
love
good.
those.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's true though. Like, it may seem like an hour of your time, but to somebody else, it could change their life.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah. Angela, you just hop in. It's just a casual conversation. So,
Definitely, I agree. I like those quotes you read. That definitely make sense.
so what do you guys do for community service?
For me, I used to do a lot, especially when after my kids, I have empty nested in around 2014. So I found myself more in the community. I used to do almost as much as I worked, and I really enjoyed it. I really did. I volunteered with some of the cleanups they did on the rivers, and then also I've done like Salvation Army, Goodwill, the Veterans Quarters, ABCCM. So I've done a lot of different things, and also I think it's not just even with organizations; it's also giving back to your community and your neighborhood.
Hmm.
And I've done a lot of stuff like help my friends out that needed like babysitting or something, maybe watch their dog or something like that or cat. So I've done a lot of different things, and I really enjoy it. And being able to give back without wanting anything in return. I
Hmm.
think it's truly amazing to have the opportunities to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
I did early on, I married and my kids were small at the time. I did foster care. And that was my way to, but it was so grueling. I did it for like 10, we did it for about 10 years, I guess, off and on. And it was just so, it was a way to give back, but it, it just took so much. So I had to change how I looked at giving back to the community because when it's breaking you down, it's not really good for anybody, you know? So I had to change that up and maybe, volunteer here, volunteer, but not make it like in my household. I think that was, especially having small kids and they're being surrounded by these other kids who don't have the background that they have. So that was hard. But that was my first jump into community, and then I had to just change it up and start volunteering and going to the sites or taking kids out for the amusement parks or whatever it was. So that was my main thing. It was usually focused on youngsters because I had youngsters at the time, but I just couldn't bring them in my house. That was too tough. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember
And
a story, Jeffrey, where you got some feedback about how you changed a young man's life.
Oh yeah, the manager of the yeah, yeah, yeah. That was worth it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
and definitely having boundaries around volunteering. Like you said, you I've stepped into a situation where I had taken in a homeless family,
Mm,
a mother and two children, and I really learned, I wanted to help, but sometimes what I had to offer wasn't, there's healthy boundaries within that situation, and it was with anything. And
hmm.
I knew that after about 2 months, I was trying to get her, and she was doing everything she could, but I just could, I wasn't enough for just, so I kind of found, we went together and found some resources where she could get in a place temporary, right? The transition housing. This was in Florida.
Uh-huh.
And so where she gets to get that help that I couldn't give her, because I
Right.
realized, whoa, this is a lot. And
Yeah.
although I was in gratitude, right? But I was also like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And it
Mhm.
wasn't, so we don't want to beat ourselves up over it, because something, it's a learning tool. Now I could never do, I could never do that again. I'd have to be out in the community, like same with
Right.
you. And
Right.
I did foster care. I
Mhm.
did that back. I wasn't still. I got out of the military now, so I was like 36 years old when I did it, and I did it. And same thing. Um, it was very rewarding, but I knew that um, it wasn't. So why we don't know until we experience things. It wasn't what I expected it to be, and
Right.
there's some things that go with it. And I back in my 30s, I still kind of a little bit still learning, still am every day. And that setting too is knowing that sometimes when you have, and it's not to no fault of their own, because you get kids that come in and they're so wanting to have that trust and that love. It's hard for them too, right,
Right.
to know how to receive or how to give, because they've been transitioned so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the barrier there between that relationship. And we were going along, getting along really good. And but it didn't matter how good I was doing, how many good it was going, it was a time for her family to get her back. And I kind of was like happy for her, but I was also sad because we
Mm.
had bonded, right? But I knew that I had to, that was my purpose, to get her on her feet until her family could get what they needed to do. And so
Yeah.
that's the whole thing, right? The whole
Yeah.
energy exchange. And so I did like doing that. But it was hard too, because at the time I had a 1 year old and in the house. So it was different dynamics with 1 year and a 14-year old, and taking on that. Never had a teenager, never raised, I was a teacher myself, right, but never raised a teenager. So it was different. I learned a
Mm.
lot of stuff, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that. But again, like I've chosen, and people who do foster parenting, oh my gosh, I just they get so much credit, because it is a lot of work. And
It's a lot.
even though I say I can't, I couldn't do that again, it's okay, right? It's okay to
Yeah.
say that is not my cup of tea, and it's okay for us to, and to learn to say no, and learn to say it's okay to say no, and it's okay to have those moments where where your boundaries lie with things. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. Jimmy, we're glad you made it today. He'll catch up. Just pop in and you can interrupt me if you're connected enough to pop in. So for me, I have volunteered. I don't even know how many places. The March of Dimes, Sleep Tight
Mm.
Kids, um, the school, of course. I was constantly at the school when the kids were in elementary school. Um, I volunteered a lot around, well, not a lot. I volunteered around Hurricane Helene. I still volunteer with AmeriHealth once in a while to teach a yoga class in the community. Um, oh my gosh, what else have I done, Neil? I've done a lot of volunteer work and drag him with me.
Yeah. Yeah, quite a
Nothing
bit.
wrong
I'm
with
trying to
that.
think of other stuff. It's been a lot.
Yeah. And
Uh,
we don't do it as much as we used to, just because life is busy and we're tired and we're old and
And that's okay.
and
Yeah.
that's okay.
That's okay. I had to cut back completely volunteering, and it's not because I now take care of my mom, who's elderly,
Mm.
right? So I'm full-time caregiver.
Right.
So and I also have, we have a 4 generations living in my house. So I
Mm.
have my grandkids, and so now I spend my time. I have to. My mindset is I'm giving to my family right now, because that's where the needs at, right? So you go where the
Right.
needs at, and it could be personal. Like, I just can't do this right now because I'm so busy, and
Right.
it's
Mm.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you're benefiting the community too, because you're investing in your family, and that family is going to be part of the community. So you still
Yes.
are, even when you're just kind of isolated with your family. If you're building nice, if your kids are coming out of that home with good characters, then that is going to flourish in the community too. So you're still working for the community when you're doing good things with your
Yes.
family,
That's such a good point,
Definitely.
Jerry. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
I always make a joke with that. I belong to like a caregiver CNA page and hospice page. I always tell them yes, because they always make those whether you have that person, because I probably would not. I'd probably be the same way when I'm not going to knock what some of the people are doing as elderly, but they get lonely. They could hit that call button 50 million times. That'd be, and that's why I was joking around with the scene. I was like, yeah, I said, that's why I try to keep my mom here at home because my mom, she wants that, and I try to set healthy boundaries with that. But I know that I'm okay with it, right? But right now I'm okay with it, and it could change. But I always joke around like that'd be my mother. She'd be like, as soon as you leave the door, because she wants to talk and have people around. So I always tell them, I was like, my mom is staying home so you all can get a break. I always joke around about that with them. Laughter is good. Humor is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Jimmy.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, Jimmy.
Good.
You
Good.
guys are doing good?
We
Doing
are.
good to see you,
Nice
bud.
to see you, Angela, Kerry, and Jeffrey.
Uh-huh. Good to see you.
So I know, Jimmy, you pretty much are always in community service, aren't you?
Yes, I'm always in community service. I'm always looking forward to shaping the world, especially starting from your own community. The result gives you that satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, like fulfilling your purpose. You feel like you're living a fulfilled life, especially when you're giving back to some people, giving back to strangers. And community service to me is always unconditional. Remember, you don't have any idea on whom you are going to find, on whom you are going to serve. You are doing this out of will, with one spirit of making a better world. So community service to me is unconditional.
Yes.
It's unconditional, and there is a way it makes you feel fulfilled as a person.
So true.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
True.
Yeah, I volunteered to stand in line, not stand in line, but to lead a little bit of a yoga thing in regards to people standing in line for food recently. And we did a little yoga movement and some breath work, and mostly I was a distraction of them standing in line for an hour and a half or so. But just to talk to people that you would have never met and to get a different perspective as to why people are there in need. And it's, I think a lot of people, generally speaking, think that if you're in service of other people, that you're somehow above them, maybe. And maybe most likely from the outside perspective, right? Not the people who are actually volunteering.
Right.
And when you are in it and you talk to people and you ask them about their stories as to why they're there and why they're in need, like you find such compassion. And you understand that could be you could be on the other side of that in a heartbeat.
I've had discussions with homeless. I used to do that a lot because and anybody that's experienced that would know what I'm talking about. It's nothing worse than not being sure where you're going to stay and not being sure where the next meal is going to. It's nothing like it's hard to explain, but I used to, go and give water and food and blankets and stuff to the homeless here, mostly here, not so much in New York, but mostly here in California. But one day I was so humbled by something that a young lady said. She said, a lot of people will bring things and just set them down. Hey, this is for you, and just leave. And sometimes a type of service that we'd like to see is just somebody sitting down and just having a conversation. Instead of just looking at us, I mean, they're looking at us as human beings, but not really, because you kind of interact with human beings. They just bring the blankets. Sometimes it's stuff that we don't need. They don't ask us what we need. They just assume we need this, this, and that. And I was like, and I felt guilty because I was like, that's me. Because I come, hey, bro, how you feeling? And I'll just set it down. Gotta go, blah, blah, blah. And I wouldn't have a conversation. So she really humbled me. Like sometimes we just want a conversation, just a hi, how you doing? How's everything going? And somebody just sitting down and listening to. So that's a big part of community service too. Not just giving of things, but giving of time, because time is precious. The thing
Yeah.
you can replace. Time, you don't get that back. So to give of your time is so important, and I learned that just talking with that homeless woman. So
Then the other thing which I learned also, the thing I learned from community service, this goes into the direction of people who volunteer or either employed, as long as you are giving service to the community. It's something which, okay, to the people who are living with regret, community service is one of the things you can try out. To anyone watching us, community service is something you can try out, and there is a way it can restore your life. There is a way it can restore your life. You'll find that someone who's, let's say, someone who did something bad, maybe knocked someone down, or you did something which is bad and it hurts you. You live by it hurting you. To get off that regret, I'm not saying that it's automatic. To other people it will work, others it won't work, but there is a way it can restore you.
Yeah, I
You
see
can
that.
find restoration from community service.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And I think, I would have an idea of how to revamp the criminal justice system, right? And how not just to shove these guys in cages, or women or kids or whoever in cages and be like, okay, you're in timeout, and it builds resentment and all that. But take them out in the community and have them like give back and understand who people are and why we don't hurt each other,
Definitely.
Yeah.
I do think, Jimmy, along those lines is like that should be a pivotal point of the criminal justice system.
Yeah,
And they
sure.
tried that. Oh, sorry. Go on.
And
Yes. Okay, Angela, you can go on.
I think that definitely the whole piece of like not just making them a criminal. Homeless shouldn't be a crime, right? And I understand that piece, and in educating our system much as we can, that not to look at it that way when society does pressure it to be that way. Does that make sense? And it hurts me when I see that, because
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a crime. They should be helped as much as they can, right? Because there also is in helping in the ways that what do they need, like you said, Jeffrey, right? What do they need? Asking them what do they need, not assuming what they need.
Right.
Well, this person needs a job. Well, maybe they can't. Maybe some reason they're not able to get that job. There's other stuff going on with, what do chunk it down to what their need is, and categorizing the most need to the second. It could be simple medication, right? It could be a house. It could be food. It could be different things besides the job to get them to get to that place. Can they work?
Yeah.
And all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. How many blankets do you actually need?
And get to the point where we see them as human. If we're talking about the prisons, they tried this in a couple of prisons where they were training dogs, like they were bringing them in, and the prisoners were, and it showed their compassionate side. Because we think of these just monsters. A lot of them aren't monsters until they have to get in those cages. Then that creates. I'm not making excuses for them, but that
No,
creates
you're right.
somebody put you in something for 24 hours or 23 hours out of a 24-hour day. You're gonna learn some things, and you're gonna turn into some stuff that out here in society we don't want to deal with. So they've tried it in a couple. Now I'm sure this isn't a popular thing, but training horses, training dogs, that kind of thing. They find that these prisoners are so compassionate with these, so it's giving them something to love,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's relying on them for a change,
And something that loves them
and
unconditionally.
something that, yeah, exactly. Wags its tail whether they had a bad day or a good day. It doesn't matter,
Right.
Yeah.
John, we're glad you're here today.
Hey, John.
Hello.
I think he's at work or traveling, but last time he told me he's always following the conversation. Even when at work, he's following the conversation.
Uh-huh. He says
Okay.
Oh, he's
You
at
have
work.
seen
Oh,
the
yeah.
he
message.
is at work, but
Yeah, he's
couldn't
at work.
miss this.
Oh, I
Well,
guessed right. I guessed right. He told me
Yeah.
whenever he's like whenever he's at work, he puts it on mute and gets to listen on to the conversation.
Cool.
So he's
Yeah.
with us
Good to
right
have
now.
you. That's cool. Good to
We're
have you.
glad we're glad you're here, John.
Thank you for showing up, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's so many areas in our world that need community service, and like Angela said, it starts and Jeffrey said it starts in our homes and in our neighborhoods. And it could be simply, waving at somebody and acknowledge their existence. I think
Yeah.
so many people are just lonely in our world that sometimes just having that gentle, hey, how are you, can make a huge
Makes a
difference in
difference.
people's lives.
And I find that I've changed. I'm trying to get back to. I was just raised to just, hey, if you make eye contact, you say hello, and the last few years I'm not as friendly, and I can feel it in myself. Like, okay, I'm gonna give that energy back. Nobody wants to speak, so I'll be that way. But you come home, you think, am I being who I'm supposed to be, or am I being what society is, So I had to really check myself on that. Just do something kind, say something kind. It's not going to hurt you either
Yeah,
way, whether they respond to it or not. Just putting it out there in a positive way. That's community service, I think.
I
Yeah.
think so too. I think so too. Just making somebody smile. Like I was in a convenience store the other day, and the guy was kind of in the way of where I wanted to go, and so I said excuse me and walked around them. And I was getting a Diet Dr. Pepper, which is my addiction. And I simply said to him, "You were in the way of my fix." And I was just joking. And it actually ended up in like a 15-second like fun exchange, and
Mm.
we go off with a smile. And that simple little thing where you're kind of just joking with somebody. Yeah, I think it makes a difference because that'll ripple out
Mm-hmm.
to the next person he meets or the next person I meet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very important.
Would you also say that empathy is where we need to be with give when we give community service or compassion, like, because well, so compassion is suffering with, so empathy is showing up for somebody even though you may not know them, may not know have the right words that's to say, or just to show up and be there, be present.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Empathy and compassion. I think our world has we separate ourselves so much, right? They're like, they don't mean anything to me, and
Mm-hmm.
we put up these barriers,
Yeah.
like Jeffrey was saying, and just having that empathy and compassion for somebody.
Yeah. It's
Because
almost
sympathy would be like you said, dropping off a bag of food and just drop and say, okay, here's a bag of food and leaving, right? There's no
Right.
action behind it, like
right.
sitting down and saying, what do you need out of this bag? Is
Mm-hmm.
there anything you can use out of this bag? Would you like anything out of this bag? Asking them,
Right.
not just
Right.
throwing it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
like some things I have here? Would you like to go through this bag and look and see what you need?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
I,
the empathy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. John says, yes, empathy is one of our core values with his job.
Mm.
I think it should be a core value with everybody,
Yeah.
you know, but it's not necessarily taught because
Mm.
we have a selfish society.
And that doesn't get likes and they doesn't go viral. Nice acts very seldom go viral. It's the
Right.
crazy stuff and the fights and the hatred and this over here, and we don't want to be around these people. That's what gets all the likes and it's crazy how that works, but that's what gets all the likes and goes viral. And kindness, every once in a while we see it and it makes us all feel good, but it's definitely not the majority of things that we see, especially if you're glued to this internet, it's not the majority of, so we have to kind of fight that. I guess in day-to-day life. Maybe we can't outdo it on the viral on the internet, but we can't do it in life, in real life,
Definitely.
you know.
Yeah. And that's what I see with a lot of a lot of these social media, like I said, the news, they hype it up. Like, and it's
Yeah.
like, because they want to, it's like they focus on the negative, and there is things we need to know, but they
Yeah.
exaggerate, right, to make it. They said if they don't, I interviewed somebody who was a who did something like that, and they're like, well, you have to have that to draw that attention, because you just have this plain flat, like, I was like, that's sad that we are not
Mhm.
drawn to the positive in the straight, right? And we had to get all this hype and all this stuff and exaggeration and this and that and get everybody riled up
Yeah.
to have that media, to have that TikTok, to
Mm.
have that, oh, I only have 50 views, I don't have 1,000, you know,
Right.
I'm honored to have 50, I'm honored to have one.
Yeah.
In that sense, right? Because I'm not going to step out of my character to gain those likes and attention. Because then that's not being authentic to myself.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Neil,
Definitely.
you look like you had something to say.
Yeah, no, I was gonna just agree about how bad news and bad information is highlighted versus the good things in life. And and I'm not trying to change the subject or trying to change the avenues of conversation, but one of the things that community service does and that society does in general is, people that have had problems or, with law enforcement, whatever it is, a lot of times they get community service. And I think the underlying part of that, one is that people are doing things for the people, but I think a lot of it is for those people that may have not been part of society or not, been very confrontational with society or other people doing the community service. Hopefully, I think part of the point is they learn, they get to see what other people are dealing with. They get to feel the community. And I think that brings in people where they may not want to do so many destructive things or terrible
Mhm.
things to others. So it's kind of like an umbrella. I
Mm.
think if everybody feels part of the community, then, I think that a lot of the hate and the crime and the anxiety and loneliness and despair, kind of go away because that's what the community is, I guess. And maybe you're redundant what I'm saying, but it's just something I think about as we have a conversation about how being part of the community, even if you're forced, is extremely important and beneficial to pretty much everybody involved in it, and even the
Mhm.
people that may not want to be.
Yeah.
So it's just something rolled around top of my head. So,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're talking about investing.
True.
Like you're
yeah,
invested in the community, so
yeah,
it makes you just more cohesive.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You said about sometimes they don't even want to. Well, I remember this one
Mhm.
time, and it kind of hurt my feelings. I'm not sure why this guy didn't want. Maybe I said this before. If I did, stop me. But we were doing foster care, and one of my buddies, him and his wife were doing foster care at the same time. So we both, we had teenagers in the house, and he had a teenager who had some problems. But they had a meeting or something to go to, and he was going to drop the foster kid over at my house because he knew I did foster care, right? And this kid was really really troubled. So they get to the door. I open the door. I like have incense smoke because I'm kind of weird. I have incense smoke. I have my little prayer corner, and the kid looks in, and he doesn't want to come in, and he's like, "No, I'm not going in there." I'm like, "Man, he sees my son's about the same age as him. I have a daughter, and then I have two foster kids, and my wife is in there, and this kid would not go in. And Gary, the guy that is his foster parent, says, well, "Man, Jeff is cool. Why don't you want to?" He's like, "No, it's too good in there. Too good. No, this is yeah. It's like I'm like, I don't know what I did wrong." And that kid never came in my house. Well, he did not. So sometimes, like you were saying, even if they don't want to, you just have to kind of coax. I'm to this day, I don't know why that kid didn't want to come in. Maybe just it's too good. No, I don't. Maybe it was too positive. He was used to chaos. I don't know how Gary's home was ran, so I don't know what they were doing over there, but he would not come in. It's like he didn't want those good vibes for what.
Mm.
So I don't,
I believe there's something to that, Jeffrey. Like, when our nervous system is so dysregulated
mhm.
because it's always chaos or it's always like he's always defensive, right? I gotta
Yeah,
fight for myself. And then he would have to be vulnerable.
yeah. They don't
If
want
he
that.
came into your house and you welcomed him or you hugged him or that would make him vulnerable. And a lot of people just,
Uh,
yeah,
Vulnerability gets you hurt, and I understand that. It
Yeah.
does. It
yeah,
does, and they understand it, and they're young kids, so they've already been through, 5 or 6. He's like, "Oh, it's a baby. Yeah, this baby has seen a lot of things in
mm,
5 years." So
yes,
the vulnerability gets, and one of those things that has gotten them hurt. So have to fight through that. With at least talking about foster care and stuff, but probably a lot with a lot of people. Probably
yeah.
with. So.
Well, with people from the prison system,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
sure, and it's probably a direct line from one to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Desiree. Desiree has her grandkids, so if
Oh,
she can pop in, I'm sure she will. But
Hey, so
we're
hello.
glad to have
it's
you.
kind of one of those mornings.
It's
Does
all
that
good.
count as community service?
Yep.
What's that?
Definitely.
Yep.
I live with my 3 grandkids.
Yeah, does keeping the grandkids count as community service?
Oh yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah, ram dogs, cats, everything.
Absolutely.
Just keeping them away from those iPads and phones, that's a big service
Oh,
for the.
they're too little for those, and
Oh,
no,
good,
they're not. They're not even at that point.
good.
They're only going to be 3 and 1. So
Oh, okay, oh, okay, okay.
yeah, and even still, we don't do that. They
Good.
play and do all the things, but they're
The kids are
napping right
supposed to
now.
be.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, good, good.
Mimi's exhausted. They've been up since early this morning, so it's like, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Let's take a break.
Yes. So I hopped on real quick to, kind of tune in for as little as I can.
Mhm.
No, we appreciate you being here. Yeah, I think that's another thing about community service is people don't realize, like, even when we were talking earlier, is like the tiniest thing can be a service to your community if you're raising the vibration of our world just a tiny bit.
Yep.
I missed all that because you froze on my end.
Oh, I was just saying that yeah, doing the most tiny acts can make a huge impact.
Tiny active.
Community service.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do a lot of that, as you know. That's
Yeah.
my job.
Yeah.
Mm.
Desiree works for it's AmeriHealth Caritas. And so basically they are all community service.
Mm.
So
And a lot of places now that I'm a social service, a social worker, social, a lot of those are requiring now part of my last job I stepped down taking care of my mother. They require that as part of like, and I think that's pretty cool. They paid just, so it was like you could do it, you don't have to get paid. I was like kind of felt like weird, like like so I wasn't gonna go like, oh well, since you require it, you're gonna pay. But I kind of like said I just did it, and I never, because I would like doing it. And so, but definitely also knowing that getting paid for it, if your company puts it in your hourly, weekly hours, it's okay too. So it's kind of like I went back and forth with that a little bit with my emotions. Like, is it community service I'm getting paid for? And so, but I really enjoyed doing it with it when I worked there. I really did enjoy the community service part of that they did.
yeah.
Mm.
They require 4 hours each year to do volunteer work. Of course, I always do more than that, but and I don't want to really say it's a requirement. It's part of our goals as an
Mhm.
organization, and so it does help us um, as an organization.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I believe that when your business does community service, and we did a lot of community service when I had my yoga studio, is that it makes you feel a part of the bigger picture. Like it makes
Mm.
people in your business feel valued as much as the people that you're helping. It's
Mhm.
so
I do
important.
believe that. I also believe it helps you as an individual because it makes you humble, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to help the communities that you live in with all of the things because, that's what we do as humans is
Yes.
support each other. And I know I seen that right after the hurricane. It was amazing how the communities just rallied together
Mm.
without even being asked. They just did it, and it's humbling for your heart and for your soul. That's what I believe,
Mm.
and I was always taught that growing up that what you give out isn't always what you receive, but it's good for you to give out because that's how we help each other
Mhm.
as a whole.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it makes you feel valued
Yeah.
too,
Mhm.
and not only valuing others.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I used to work for the Spark Foundation. That's my, and I kind of miss. I'm taking care of my mother now, but I really enjoyed. I was there for 3.5 years. I really enjoyed that company.
Mm.
I find it interesting and this is a soapbox I think I've been on several times in my life, is that when there is this community service um, aspect to your business, or if you're doing a nonprofit, it's like we're always fighting to get funding and fighting for volunteers and fundraising, and then other people, it seems like the money flows when they're not doing that give back thing.
Yeah.
It's such an oxymoron.
It is.
Yeah.
I've worked for a few nonprofits, and I swear I don't want to sound pessimistic, but it seems like the ones that do the least get the most money, and the ones that are really trying to reach out and really trying to impact the community, they're begging for crumbs. I'm not sure. I don't know if if that's the way it's set up. I don't know, but it just seems like the ones that are doing one example. I work for this. I won't say who it is. It's here in California, and they had a grant or some money. They were going to get $800,000 a year or some almost $1 million a year for the next 5 years. And when I had just moved back, I had just moved back to California from New York, and I'm like, wow, we should be able to do some great things. And so when I go in the office, everybody's kind of kicked back, and we were passing out STD pamphlets to these communities, and that we weren't really doing anything for these communities. Eventually, it got written up and got audited, and they lost the grant. But it seemed like those kind of I don't know, the ones that aren't doing anything get all the money, and the ones that are really just scraping by and really making changes aren't.
Well, it
Maybe that's just
also
my
too.
opinion, my experience too. It's just I can't say that's over. I can't
Hmm.
put it all under the umbrella, but that's been my experience with it.
Well, and it's also too. It's what the I don't know how to put it kindly. Um, but I'm going to try
Say
my best here. But it's also what the government wants to put out to the communities.
it.
And so if it doesn't fit their bubble,
Mhm.
then you're not going to get pushed out and you're not going to get the grants, the things like that, because they're going to feel it's not necessary. And that's my take on it. And I don't want to like get political or anything like that,
Right, right. Mhm.
but like that is what I've noticed. And I work for, you know, and I've seen it time and time again where agencies don't get funding because it doesn't fit that bubble or that criteria.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
I
hate
agree.
saying that. I hate saying that, but I've seen it time and time again,
Yeah.
and you get budget cuts and things like that. And I'm watching it tenfold right now where people are losing their jobs with all these budget cuts and things like that.
Mhm.
And it's disheartening because those smaller organizations that really want to do good and to
Mhm.
help the communities that we serve, it's they don't fit the bubble. And
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say it as real as that. It doesn't fit the bubble.
Mm.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to agree with me, and I'm fine with that, but that's how I feel about it. And I'm old
Yeah.
enough to know how this system works, and it's so corrupt and so disgusting that, like you said, those STI things and all of that, it's just as valuable as the next. I mean,
Yeah.
for goodness sakes, we're pushing Narcan out, and Narcan is getting taken away, and we're over here like, what are you doing? And it doesn't fit the bubble.
Well,
Mm.
this is how I see it. So if you're taking Narcan away, you should be, and this is just an example, you should be doing education on drug use.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
push that. Like if you're not gonna provide that immediate help with Narcan, then you need to be doing the prevention work.
Education. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And that's what I did with my company with prevention. And the like you said, it was we were trying to do a good thing and with prevention and with the Spark Foundation when I was a facilitator through DVIP, Domestic Violence Intervention Program. but people don't want to. They're struggling, and we're doing prevention. We're trying to do prevention and teach and at a early age on up. And then the people that were the people that needed the help, it's like there's no money. Nobody wants to support it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
No, go ahead.
There was this one. You remind me of this one. It was this under the same program. We got a certain community. It was like gang infested community. Got they had a room. I guess it was going to be like their playroom. I don't know what it was, but anyway, they got the city donated computers. The lady comes out and they have this big thing about computers. The kids are going to have computers in this game room or whatever it's called. One stipulation, and I couldn't make this shit up. I'm not exaggerating. One stipulation was if they got these computers, they could not use them for educational purposes. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my God.
I
I'm
know.
like, oh my, I swear, I am not exaggerating.
What?
I wish I was. I was
Yeah,
like,
that actually happened.
yeah, so
That
yeah.
actually happened.
I'm like, oh my God, these kids, they're in gang infested. They need all the computer and education help that they could use it for games,
Yes.
but they could
Yeah,
not use it for educational. I was
educational
like, wow.
purposes.
Oh my Jesus. I was like, wow. Yeah, I actually
I
heard that
can't
with
even fathom.
yeah.
And
I'm like,
and
That's
I'm
and
like
that's
telling
important.
you,
Yeah.
that's like 20 years ago. I'm like, oh my, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow. And I
and
was just a
It's
worker.
for
Yeah, I was a worker. So I was just coming to support the community. And there's all these older, it wasn't too many young people, all these elderly in there, because they're kind of representing the neighborhood. The kids are in school or the gangbangers are doing what they're doing. So it's all these elderly. And I'm looking around and nobody's standing up. I'm like, they didn't hear what this lady just said? And she's a representative of the city. And so I raised my hand. I was like, are you telling me that they can get computers, but they can't do anything educational, academic on these computers? Say, yeah,
no.
I'm like, oh my Lord.
And
what
that's what I said, and that goes back to the bubble. If it doesn't fit in the bubble,
Mm,
then it's not going to get pushed out, and that's what is disturbing about all of this, because we're over here sitting here like, because we're old school, right? So we
mm,
understand how the system works, and it's just it's mind blowing and what they're doing to this
mm,
generation of children as far as education goes. And let's not even sit here and undermine the fact that they were requiring all these school supplies for parents, but yet half of the work is on tablets and things like
mm,
that. So
mm,
make sense why we're still buying school supplies, but yet we're we're pushing tablets and things like that to take home with the children. It's like costly for the parents. I know when my kids, thank God, my kids are not in the educational system now. I'm pretty sure that's why I had kids young. Um, but it's just disheartening, and I'm seeing it tenfold because my organization doing a lot of back to school supply events right now, and the need is so great and parents can't afford it. But make it make sense to me. Why are we requiring all this, and we're having parents buy printer paper? What? Like,
mm,
why am I buying the school printer paper or the
yes.
teachers?
Right.
Like,
Hard stock.
yeah, come on now. I mean, I know teachers are and I'm not bashing teachers. I'm not. I'm really not. But we're sitting here like supplying this stuff for teachers because they're saying that they can't afford it. Well, then, I, like I said, it's a soapbox that I can't.
Yes.
huh,
Oh,
Well,
It,
yeah,
baby wipes. They want them baby wipes. Why do they need baby wipes? I'm like, I was like, I'm gonna give them
soap and water.
dry eraser board. I didn't get, and I have my grandkids and I take care of them. So I have like anyway. So I went to the school list and I went through like yes, no, I went yes, no. I'm
yes,
like alternate is going to be. I went and got the erasers for the dry erase board because
yes,
they're using them, and I got two of them, one for each of the kids. I'm like, I'm not giving them baby wipes so they can wipe off the. I used to teach,
mm,
wipe off the dry erase. That's what they're using them for. That's a waste.
mm, mm,
I'm
baby
sorry.
wipes aren't cheap. Baby wipes aren't cheap. I have
No,
grandbabies. They ain't cheap.
they're
You
not.
know.
I'm like dry erase dollar. The Dollar Tree has $1.25. The little erasers for the dry erase board. I got two of them put in the backpack, and I'm like, I'm not giving them wipes.
mm,
No.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. So not of organization as well, where you're putting so much pressure on people in the community, and then they wonder why there's such a, I don't even know the word. Words are hard right now because
And
I
we'll talk about community service. To back to the school system, right? Let's go. I've tried to give them time, because I see the teachers overwhelmed. I try to say, well, I can come in on a certain day and help, and they don't want it. So
no,
no.
no, and that's another thing too. Like, why are we not allowing people to like? I get security reasons, things like that, because it's a different day and age. Again, reminding myself that God, I
Background check.
don't have children in the school system right now, because I'm pretty sure I would be in jail, because there is just
Don't worry.
so much, and I worry for my grandchildren because, like, I don't. Carrie knows. Carrie knows how I am. I don't have a filter. I try so hard sometimes, and I bite my tongue to the point where it bleeds because I don't have a filter. And I worry when my grandkids start school how Mimi's going to handle this, because I won't tolerate it. I didn't tolerate it when mine were in school, and I certainly am not going to tolerate it while my grandkids are in school. And I just don't understand why it's so hard for communities to get back to where we were,
Mm.
as a society. And it hurts my heart
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I don't understand it. I don't understand why we went so left field.
Mhm.
I don't
Well,
get
I
it.
think I haven't thought that it's the people that make the decisions who are not down on the ground with the people who are there. Like, there is no politician that has been in the school system and volunteered, to sit by a kindergarten teacher who has, some, well, I'm going to go like, let's go eighth grade, right? Some really intelligent children who are motivated and want to learn and are bored, and she's also having to deal with autistic children
Mhm.
Yeah.
In the
in
same
the
class.
class.
Right, because we have to intermingle them, because
Exactly.
that was a whole thing,
Yep.
where they have to be integrated with the other children,
Yep.
make that make sense. I mean,
Yeah.
no offense. I mean, and I
No,
get it, I understand it, but then why not have somebody there to help that teacher that has a child that is got special needs? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah,
yeah.
but
And
that's across the board for everything, right? Even
Yeah.
the people who are writing the checks, the wealthy people who have foundations and all that stuff, they're deciding from their point of view, and they've never been in the trenches with people who are rolling their sleeves up and shoveling mud out of somebody's house.
Right.
yeah,
Exactly. And
yeah,
until you do, then I'm at the point of where I am in my life. If you aren't going to be in the trenches, then don't come at me.
Yeah.
Don't, because I'm gonna call you out, and I'm gonna call BS where it is. Because, like, no, you don't get to sit here and be on this soapbox if you aren't going to go and do the do. I mean, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
They have no community, the ones that, whoever they are, they don't have that sense of community. I guess they don't have to have it. But they look down with that
But
kind of
they're
mind.
going to be the first ones to bitch and complain about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to
Mm-hmm.
be the first ones.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. How did we get here? That's what they're
Sorry,
gonna.
I did
There
cuss.
was.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Do y'all
I'm glad.
agree, like, because y'all agree there was more community and it's been taken away? I think it has, because I've been in a system where I was able to volunteer in the school, and just now they don't. And I understand background checks, and they want every parent up there. I get that, but filter, like any other place that, like, even social services, they have a volunteer spot. It's just like a work, you fill up application and you get hired, even a volunteer. And I get that. So I really think we've gone a little bit, and I don't want to get politics either. We've gone backwards about community, and we're realizing that, hey, it's not working. And us, the ones that are down here shoveling the mud out of people's homes and helping people in jail who don't have nobody. I've done that, different things like that. And so we're kind of like, how do we revamp this? How do we get back to that whole community? It takes a village, right, to raise
You
a
keep
community,
standing
I
up.
think.
You keep standing up.
Yeah.
That's what you
Yeah.
do. You keep standing up for what is right. And until we all start standing up more and speaking out and stop being afraid.
Yeah.
And Gary knows me. I am absolutely not afraid to stand up and call somebody out. I don't. That's why I said I'm super glad I had children young. I will say that till the day
Mhm.
the good Lord takes me, because I can't,
Yeah.
even as a human, I cannot stand for somebody to sit here and be on a soapbox, but then still not do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like, and as a
Yes.
community and as a network, that's what it's about, is networking and getting the word out there. And I advocate as much as I can for the smaller people, because the smaller people are the ones that need the voice the more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't take the people that write all these crazy rules and they don't take days off. So we can't take days off. We really can't take days off. I mean, every day try to do something. You know, it doesn't have to be anything mind blowing, but yeah, they don't take days off, you know, and we can't. We just do what we can within our families, within our homes, but we can work on it every single day and on some capacity, you know,
Yeah.
in some capacity. So I
And
think that's
keep having conversations like this.
yeah.
And not be afraid to have the conversations like this, where it's
Exactly.
real talk, where we can collectively as adults agree to disagree, but still come
Mhm.
together as a whole
Right.
and understand and put the wisdom out there, so that maybe somebody will hear it from the younger side
Yeah.
of things and not be so liberal about it, because
Mhm.
I understand there has to be change in some things, but some things don't need to change. Some things need to get better.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. It needs more foundation.
Mhm.
Like, because we know what needs to happen. Like, all of us on here know what needs to happen. We've been there, we've done that. And we know from a real perspective how things need to grow. But to
And
get
it's
it,
not all bad in what we
no, it's not all
do. I
bad.
mean, it's not all bad. I mean, yes, there are some things. I mean, honestly, we're not sitting here having children drink out of hose waters anymore. And we're not, street lights aren't a thing anymore. But what was wrong with that? Like, we survived.
Yeah.
Again, throwing something random out there because it's a point, like those things, eh, you know, did it harm us? Obviously
Right.
not. We're still breathing,
We're still here.
like,
We're
Yeah.
tough.
but and I understand that society as a whole has more, and we do have to be more cautious. But that's the key word, cautious, not,
Aware.
oh my gosh, it's the end of the
Right.
world,
Exactly. With
and
the even with the water
it,
bottles, like I work in a school and it drives me nuts. Everybody has a water. I'm like, how much
Yep.
water do kids need? Just drink out of the faucet. Oh my! And they're losing the water bottles and hitting each other with the. I'm like, oh my God, we're just so like you said, it was too cautious. I'm like, let the kids go out and have fun and just, I
Build
don't
our
know.
immune system.
Yeah,
Come
build up
Yeah.
the system. Oh my
yes.
Lord.
Yeah.
Now I'll give you. I mean, there are certain waters that I'm not going to drink out of right now because of
Right.
the hurricane, and there's still some
Oh yeah, yeah.
issues here in the,
We still have water issues
So
at our
I
house.
do
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Right, and I do understand cautious, but again, that emphasize cautious. Like,
Yes.
we need to do better at being cautious, not again, oh my God,
Fearful.
the world's coming to an end.
Right,
Right.
right, right.
Yeah. That's what the fear book's about, right? Where we
Yeah,
where we develop
yeah,
awareness and we don't just live from a place of fear of everything.
We
right.
can't live in a place of fear, and that's what's wrong, is that we have become so fearful and
Mm.
not living life and protecting it, it's sad. It really is.
Yeah,
But I appreciate you guys. Let me come up as always. It's a pleasure to be able to hop on these as much as I can. I wish I could get to them more because it's always a delight talking to you guys. It does
Yeah.
enlighten me that there are still like-minded people out in this world. Just wish we had more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep sharing we'll keep sharing these conversations and grow it. I mean, we're 2 years old, a little over 2 years
Yeah.
old now. So yeah, little by
You
little.
see, talk about yeah, I didn't realize it's been 2 years, and I've been wanting to jump on here, and a couple of times I just didn't, and it's okay. I couldn't get there. So, thank you again, also Carrie, for inviting me and letting me be on these. I've been trying to get to these, to get to some of these too.
Well,
I do watch you all and everything you have. I enjoy. I'm like, finally, I can actually have, and I didn't realize it was 2 years. So 2 years I've been waiting to get I've been saying yes and never made it till like till a couple weeks ago.
That's okay. We keep
That's
that
yeah.
consistency and that keep reminding people and it'll grow. It'll grow little by little.
Definitely.
And y'all are free to invite whoever, if they want to come along, and especially if they have some expertise around the topic. I was going to look and see what our topic next month is, and I can't remember. See if I have it up here.
Yes, Jeffrey.
Hey.
Long time.
Gratitude.
Yes.
Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you, Desire. I'm seeing Angela, Neil. It's a pleasure. Thank you for believing in the Be the Spark movement.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, I wouldn't have been a part of it if it wasn't for Carrie.
I
And
drag her kicking and screaming.
Huh.
not kicking and screaming. I come willingly. You notice I
I
don't
know.
go where I
We are
don't
glad
want
to
to.
have you. We are glad to
At
have
least
you, and we
Yes.
just want to say, keep the spirit, keep loving the world, keep shaping the world and the communities.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
next month's topic will be the third week of September, third Saturday of September. I can't see my calendar right now to know what date that is, but the next topic is indecision and how indecision impacts our life. So be thinking about that, and yeah, well,
That's a good one.
it is a good
Really
one.
good one. Yes.
It's a good one, a deep
My
one.
brain's already churning.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah. Already have
Like
something
the
to say.
wheels turning, but nothing's clicking right now, but it will.
No,
You got a month.
we gotta
Write it down. So does anybody have any final words of wisdom from this conversation or something that's popped up since we've started?
Can I read one more on
You can read all you want, Jeffrey.
Okay, let me get this. Okay. Let me read one more about community. That was really good. Okay. If we surround ourselves with people who are successful, who are forward moving, who are positive, who are focused on producing results, who support us, it will challenge us to be more and do more and share more.
Amen.
like that.
Can
Amen.
I say
Thank you.
something? Can I say something before we go?
Absolutely.
I know I've been on and off during the conversation, but when we were talking about community service, do we look at the different communities, the smaller communities and the larger communities? Because sometimes we also have communities at work, communities at church, communities in different settings. So I think we can have this conversation.
And different cultures. Don't forget that.
And different, yeah, sure. It's a broad topic. I think we can get this topic once again in the coming month and rediscuss it, because I think there is something also to discuss about the smaller community, the categories of communities. Earlier today, Kelly was talking about bullying. And something was triggered into my mind. When we talk about bullying, we think about schools, about the children. But you know that bullying still goes on. Bullying is going on in workspaces, in trains, in where we are commuting from, in supermarkets where we are shopping. So all these different communities, and how community service can shape this, how even those who are giving community service in these different settings, these different communities, how they can be motivated, how they can be encouraged. More and more you can add on that, but I think it's a broader topic. Thank you for the discussion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you.
That's a
Yes,
great
thank you.
perspective, Jenny. All right. If nobody else has anything to say, I thank each of you for being here, for your wisdom, for your community service, for your love, your compassion, and your empathy for this world, because one person at a time, one breath at a time, one smile at a time, that's how we change this world.
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
all.
You
Till
guys
next month.
have
Everybody
a
have a good day.
wonderful
See you
rest of
next
your day.
week. See you next month. See
you
you
next
next
month.
month.
Everybody.
You all,
Looking
all your
Thank
forward to
comments
seeing
made a
you.
you.
big difference too. Thank you. All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.